Hey everyone, in the retrospective for the last sprint, I said I had 2 free episodes and I'm going to cash one of those in. In this episode, we need to create the subject table and start to fill that subject table. That is probably the center of how we're going to automate our object creation. Is we're going to have to declare a subject, system, subject, database, process. We're going to declare that, and that will be the table that will tell our other processes to create tables a specific way, views, procedures, functions, triggers, whatever we need. So I'm caching one of those in, and that's what we're going to do in this video. Catch you after the title. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is generate scripts like we did in video 11. And I'm going to choose the DataSet subject to base my code off of. And just, next, save to new query window, next, because we've already declared the options in video 11 also. And here, replace ref dataset with ref subject. And the reason why I chose DataSet is because it has a database ID parent in it, and the subject will have a parent. It will belong to a database. So when I declare the subject database, I'm going to put it in the system table. So now we can actually start to classify our subjects. And the really neat thing about this model is that if you do not currently have a use for something, to put it under a different realm, class, family, type, it's just updating an ID. Like if I wanted to put a family under a different realm, I could just update the family ID or family's class ID to something else. So we can, if we don't have a use, which I don't really know what I want to do with this yet, is we can make the subject and class, or the realm and class of the subject unassigned. We say, I don't have a use for this yet. However, I have a use for the family. And the family is going to be our standard RCFT shape. And this shape is what we've created already. It's just the standard 5-table subject where there is a realm, class, family, type, RCFT, and the base table without any sort of suffix. So I'll make the key name RCFT. And then I'll go into the subject type table, and I'm going to declare the notation that we have, that in all of our tables we have TBL followed by a 3-letter code, and that's the subject family. Reference data goes on the reference files and file groups, and just for a little more insight until we actually dive into this modeling is group. We have GRP group ID tenant in our tables right now. That GRP will represent where that file is going to be stored, or where that data is going to be stored, what file, and it will be in our database in the group, cluster, index, blob, etc. So I'm just going to find my database ID for my system main database, so I can use that in my subject table and declare all of these subjects that we've made already. And the reason why I just don't open up the subject table is if I have time, I want to try and code so you guys can get familiar with how we're going to be accessing this data. And the more I can show you, the more prepared you are for when we get into the very abstract, data-driven language. So my database ID is 5. All of the subjects that we have right now are our standard RCFT shapes under reference. So now I can just name my subjects. So the first group of tables is subject. So in the future, if I had my create tables, my templates and my data point and dataset table, I had my view creators, my trigger creators, my process creators, for change management, archive and history control. If I had my functions for getting the realm, class, family, type IDs, if I had all of those procedures created, This is the table I'm talking about in the intro, where we should be able to go into this table, create a new record like language, go over to a top level process and feed it a subject ID. And it should know, hey, this subject belongs in the data database. It belongs on reference or maybe a new subject family. Do the files exist? No, they don't. Oh, go create them, or then create the tables, then create the views, the triggers, etc. So this is that table structure that's going to help us move forward. And I needed to create this before we created, our first half of the dataset creator, which is in the next video. So that is it for this one. Pretty short, I know, but thank you again for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And remember, like this video, and YouTube will share it with other people in our industry, and subscribe to support me. I'll catch you in the next one.